Okay, folks, welcome back. Sunday morning edition. Okay, see if I can find where the hell I left off, which is right here. It literally has not been touched for a couple days, I think. Let's get everything back into position here. Try to wake up a little bit with some coffee. I was actually going to start without coffee, and then I guess it was about 15 minutes ago, I started my thread, and something that had never happened before. Thread? Feed. And it said it failed to upload things to YouTube, so I didn't think anything about it. And I got a little error message down here. Windows updates critical of not being, your PC is critical of not being up to date or something like that. I'm like, all right, well, fuck it. Let's just go ahead and do it. Because what happens is I don't get any warning that it needs to be updated until I start my live feed, and I'm not going to disconnect for that. That's silly. And lately I haven't been using my computer much for, other than pretty much this camera you guys see right here. I'm not doing much with a PC at home. And I'm like, well, let's go ahead and start it. So we lost about 15 minutes, but it is what it is. Put me out of my misery. You have gastric discomfort and can't sleep. Yeah, I don't know what the solution for that is. I was gonna say get drunk, but that's gonna make things worse. And when I say get drunk, just go get a buzz, not, vomit everywhere. That's that's the description I use differently than anybody else. Everybody says, I say get drunk is just, you're not able to legally drive, not, you're gonna make an ass of yourself, or you're gonna wear dinner. What time I know you're still awake. What time did you wake up? See, it's 6 a.m. You're on Eastern Standard Time, like everybody in the free world should be. And what time did you go to? What time did your day start? I mean, is it like a 6 a.m. and you've been up for 24 hours? Because if so, that's miserable. I'd say read, but man, I can't read with discomfort. I lately have turned into an old man, at least physically, and I now wake up before my alarm every morning to go to the bathroom, and usually it's just because I'm uncomfortable. It's not that I can't hold it; I'm just uncomfortable. So my alarm's normally at 5. I'll usually wake up sometime between 2:30 and 4 to think I'm going to go to the bathroom and sit there and surf on the web, and sometimes go to sleep. If not, I stay in bed another hour, and if not, I just start my day. It's not a big deal. It's not like I'm tired all day long, but it's like, you know how you sleep in? Don't set your alarm. And then you'll end up sleeping until freaking 9 and be late for work. You wake up throughout my sleeping time. My bed is horribly uncomfortable at times. Oh, man. Well, come up here and sleep on my couch. My couch is actually pretty comfortable. It's actually very comfortable. I've had to sleep at least, let's see, my daughter was in surgery and was sleeping in my bed. I've slept 2 weeks on my couch, and I didn't really regret it because it's really comfortable. Um, you gotta take the pillows out, but yeah, that sucks that your bed's not comfortable. Um, I'm not sure what exactly you need, like bed wise, with your condition, but I know that if I have a bed that's too soft, it'll kill me. I feel like a fucking beached whale, and I'm gamer size medium, and if you're on a bed that's too soft, I'm a side sleeper. You'll freaking crush yourself, you know. Um, so yeah, that's bad. El Bado. So I'm not sure exactly where we left off. I think we're gonna put shit on the fenders. We're gonna install the fenders, is what it is. But we gotta put these things underneath. We're missing one of them. I'm not gonna fret over it. It didn't turn up. I don't know that if I even had it. Some of these packages came kind of opened. I'm not gonna hold it against you know who, but I'm just gonna move on. and we're attempting to build these as best we can. We don't have 17 is the one we don't have. We have 16, and that one goes on the one that has the smaller portion here, so it goes on this one, and 16 goes with 15. It's actually not that noticeable underneath. So we're going to take this one. I'm going to take this one here. Yeah, if I sleep in a bed, everywhere I travel, I bring my pillow with me. I have one of those. I have like a Tempur-Pedic piddle. No, I don't have a piddle. That happens when you turn in your 70s, I guess. But yeah, if a pillow's too hard or if a pillow's too soft, I'm screwed either way. And then I get something pinched in my neck for a couple days and regret it. So I just travel with my pillow. The hell with it. You're heading to be about 2 hours. I was heading to be about 2 hours ago. Felt gastric discomfort coming on. Took one of my pills, and unfortunately, it's taking a sweet time to kick in. You should join me building another 700 scale ship. To say it was harrowing the first couple times trying to drill small holes for the brass barrels. At least the barrels are brass, man. That's a lot better than like if they weren't brass. Because I don't like photo etch and brass stuff only because of the glue I have to use. The brass stuff I've done has been, I don't mind it at all. I mean, it's not that bendy compared to plastic. I mean, it bends, okay, so you bend it back, no big deal. You went through a period of 2 sleeps about 2 years ago. Slept really well for 3 hours, then went to the loo, okay, and then stayed up for an hour, and then back to sleep for another 3 hours. Yeah, I must be getting close to your age. I go to the loo and I gotta pee a little bit, and I think, okay, well, maybe I gotta do something else, and I don't. But it's okay. I haven't had a headache. I'm not really complaining. It's just kind of weird but at 9:30 at night, I'm done. I'm ready for bed at 9:30. Stupid keyboard. Let's see. If I had to build a 1/700 scale model, what would I do? Well, let's see. I haven't built one in a very long time, and I've never finished one. You know what I'm scared of? I'm scared of the water. I'm scared of doing the water. Scared is the wrong word. I'm uncertain. And I'm not used to being uncertain when I'm building models or painting things. I've got a lot of, especially painting things, I got a lot of self-confidence built painting shit. Like, I'm like, this is going to turn out well. But when you start dealing with something like freaking the water and all the waves and shit, I got nothing. I've never done that before. That doesn't mean it wouldn't turn out okay. I'm just saying that it's just kind of uncertain. I don't go to paint these guys and I'm like, well, I don't know if this is going to turn out okay. Yeah, I got this shit, but water, that's just kind of a new thing. Can't build a Sean horse. Got to pick another ship. I wouldn't. I'd probably start with a destroyer, so I wouldn't bite off too much that I could chew. You read an article that was common historically for people to have 2 sleeps until Middle Victorian times. Huh. Well, my people invented that whole siesta thing, and I think it's because it was too hot in the middle of the day, but they don't have any air conditioning at that time, so it'd be too hot all the time. I just wouldn't fucking live there. I don't know how people go to sleep like hot. Actually, something interesting was happening to me yesterday. I was sitting in my living room, and my feet were freezing. They're kind of cold right now as well. And, I keep the house at 72 at nighttime. I can't go lower than that. It's just not affordable. I'd love for it to be in the 60s, but it just isn't going to happen. 72 with fans is pretty cool. It's reasonable. But sometimes my feet are just freezing, and I'm happy. Not freezing, they're cold. And other times, they're so freaking hot, I can't stand it. I have to go in the shower and hose them off. They're clean just from being in the house, but I just can't go to sleep if my feet are hot. And it's just funny. Sometimes it's that way. The destroyers are stupidly small in 1/700. You don't know what stupidly small is, man. Can't sleep in a warm room. Absolutely not. Has to be cold for some reason. I just don't fall asleep. Yeah. I got to have air circulation. I have a hard time falling asleep in a bed. So last weekend, Labor Day weekend, we stayed in a hotel, this hotel we've stayed at before, that's at St. Pete Beach. It's not a fancy hotel. It's not a slum. Not even close. I mean, my wife wouldn't stay there if it was a dumpy hotel. So we stayed at this hotel, and I had one of these 2 sleep situations. I wake up in the middle of the night. I forget what time it is. Let's say 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning. And on the wall above me, there's a fire detector that's doesn't have a. It's funny because the last time I stayed at a hotel, there was a fire detector issue. That's actually literally went off because there was the fire thing. But that's a different thing. That's the shit hotel that we stayed at our convention. Hey, speaking of shit hotel that's staying at the convention, it's coming up in 3 weeks. I wonder if we'll have an incident there. I think somebody lit a doob up and set the fire alarm off. But that's my professional unprofessional opinion. So there's this alarm in this hotel room a week ago. And it's hardwired into the wall, as most of them are, because otherwise it'd be a nightmare to go around and change the batteries and shit like that. And it flashes green, right? And I'm used to sleeping in a room that's completely dark. Or at least doesn't have flashing lights in it. So I'm trying to go to sleep again, and this green light keeps flashing. And it's not it's actually pretty often. It's like once every 5 seconds or 4 seconds. And I'm looking at it, in my cloudy way, because I don't have my contacts in. And it's not on a pattern. It's like random. So I don't think anything of it. I said, I'll just sleep on my side. I won't even look at it. It's not a big deal. It's not that bright. It's just kind of distracting. And I had taken a bottle of water and I had put it by my bed. And bottles of water now, because they're recycler, are really, 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 really flimsy, or they can be. The plastic is it gives a lot. Like this is pretty solid. It's probably seems like maybe half the thickness of this. It's probably more than that, but anyways, it's very crackly. I had just taken a sip of water and went to bed, and I see this light, and I go and try to close my eyes, or I'm looking at the light, and at the same freaking time that the light flashes one time, I hear this thing down here. Of course, I don't know it's the water bottle down here, like crack, almost to the point that it sounds like a spark to me. And I shuddered for a second, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Are we going to have a spark fire from this thing that's hardwired in there? And it was just coincidence. And I kind of put 2 together. I was kind of about to fall asleep anyways. And I'm like, okay, that's just that. But it just really startled me that effing thing was flashing at the same time that the air in the bottle popped. Because it's so flimsy that when you go and grab it, it ends up like, you end up like crushing it like the freaking Hulk, You sleep with fans year-round and AC with fans in warm weather. Yeah, fans are on every day. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's 40 degrees out or 20 degrees out. You got to have air circulation. It doesn't need to be a wind tunnel, but you got to move the air around. Your minions. Well, tell your minions to frickin' make you feel better. If you got minions, they can, unclog you or something. Have them give you a coffee enema or something. Is that a thing? I don't think that would probably help you. Yeah, so this last convention in went to the hotel, literally the fire, I've talked about that, the fire alarm went off. It was late. I had just gone to bed. I mean, literally like 15 minutes, you know. So I was like groggy, and the freaking fire alarm went off. And Mitch wasn't in the room yet. He was still putting shit away from the show and stuff. It's about 11 o'clock. I'm like, I'm done. So it was weird. I'm glad it wasn't on the floor above me because it pretty much flooded all the carpet and stuff. I bet that place smelled nice, like spilled milk, wet carpet. You know, most hotels are nice, and then they don't spend any money on maintenance, and then people trash them, and they just turn into shitholes. You know, I'm not sure what the hell causes gastric discomfort. I just know it's disabling and very discomforting. It'd be worse if I try to lay down. Yeah. The other thing that's happened to me recently is I'll get like a headache, you know, a mild one, just like enough to like, let me get up and take some ibuprofen or whatever, or Tylenol. I'm not, I think we've stopped taking ibuprofen, taking Tylenol instead, whatever. But then I stand up and I'm okay. Sometimes laying down puts more pressure on your head for a headache. Yeah. A couple of months ago, when I was sleeping here, I had gotten a headache. No, I was sleeping in bed and I was tossing and turning so much. I'm like, I'm going to wake the wife up. So I got up and I was up from like midnight or 11 o'clock at night all the way till I went to work. That was crazy. That was absolutely crazy. And I just couldn't get comfortable. And it was one of those like you lay in this position, like, okay, I'm good. I'm not hurting anything. And all of a sudden you can hear your headache. Like you can hear like your heartbeat in your head or neck or wherever it is that it was hurting. It was dunka, 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 dunka. Like I got to switch positions. So every like 20 or 30 seconds I was switching positions, driving myself crazy. I finally like, I got to get up. I got to sit. And I think the only position I found that was comfortable was I ended up sitting on the couch. This couch comes in really handy because if the bed's not comfortable, then you can kind of do this. And I laid back. I couldn't sit up. I had to lay back maybe like at 70 degrees or something like that. And eventually I fall asleep. It's kind of hard to fall asleep sitting up unless, you know, you accidentally fall asleep sitting up. And then I did get about maybe an hour of sleep or something like that. But it was like maddening. But I think that happened. I think the catalyst for me getting a headache, which was actually a neck ache, I didn't realize it was one, was I had left this seat about 3 inches too high. And I spent too much time the previous day and my neck would just flex just enough to it pinch something. So you can suffer a traumatic injury by working on the hobby desk. It might have been something else, but that was an issue the previous day. So I don't know. I scored Flying Colors 3rd Edition Deluxe off eBay. That's a sailing ship game, sounds like. For a really great price, saw it went out of print. When that happens, the price skyrockets. Yeah. Nobody wants it until you can't get it anymore. I paid the price. I wanted to go for it, and the prices are starting to rise despite only being a 3-year-old game. Now have age of sale game I've been looking for. Never really got into that stuff. The ships are too similar to each other. That's why I'm not into it. You know, you can't look at something like, oh, that's a French ship, that's a British ship, that's a, you know. Now, I a half dozen games of Wood Chips and Iron Men, and I enjoyed it. But I'd rather play Land Warfare of that time period. And simply only because it's hard to get excited about the ships. Like I'm a World War One, World War Two ship guy because I can look at a silhouette and say or that's the other thing, or they have different paint schemes, especially World War Two. But sailing stuff, I can't get excited about the ships. They just don't. I'm not excited to even look at them. Comes with nearly 50 scenarios and rules to make your own, so replay is absurdly good for it. Oh, you're in an age of sail, always have been. Why? Do you like the ships? I can see that you gotta manipulate the direction of the wind and all that. That part's cool, but I just can't get excited about ships that all look the same. Ships really like how they were painted 15. Does it go into, it goes that early? It goes into the Armada period? So the game's 3 years old and it's out of print. Man, it's just not very long. Oh, this is the back one. Yeah, I don't remember if this actually came with this piece. Because I want to say it was loose. I'm not too worried about it. It's not noticeable unless you're looking underneath it. It's really not noticeable at all. So we're going to move forward without it. Flying Colors not going on Armada period, but I wouldn't doubt that in the future they may. Well, they got to reprint it. I don't know. I'm new to that whole. This game's out. We need to get 500 subscriptions to rebook the game. It's just. I mean, I get why they do it because it's such a niche thing, but I'm used to how Avalon Hill did things. But I guess that's been many decades since they've been around. And I haven't played many of the really early Avalon Hill stuff. I would never play any of the games that are generic. I was watching a post. I looked at a post the other day, yesterday or the day before, of a board game. I forgot on which Facebook group it was on, but it showed a snapshot of a board game. And what I really noticed is how off-center, how out of register the decals were on it. The decals, the counters were printed way out of register. Meaning the decal was like this, and instead of the item being centered, it was way off to one side where some of the writing was almost off the decal. I'm like, well, this is a weird looking game in some unusual colors. And I don't mean unusual colors and then they were bright. They were just kind of like a weird choice, almost like forest green for one. I'm like, what game is this? And it was a snapshot of a game called Beachhead by, it might be SPI. And I remember working in the hobby store, seeing I could picture what the cover of the book looked like, of the game box looked like, and I didn't realize it at the time. But there's many games that are generic. So in other words, it's one that's just generic. And beachhead, I think, is like U.S. naval landings in World War II and stuff like that. It's like island assaults and stuff like that. And but it's just generic stuff. And I can't imagine playing a game like that. It just doesn't it's not very exciting. It's just a little too generic. Like Blitzkrieg. Never played Blitzkrieg. I didn't realize Blitzkrieg was a generic game. Like it's not like the French and the Germans, or it's just just this team versus this team. Like Tactics 2, the blue versus red. So about a 910 to get it right now, but I had the extra funds and the seller accepted my offer. It's a bit lower than what they were asking price was. Yeah, they might have just wanted to move it. But maybe other people like generic stuff. I don't. The problem is I like to read to inspire me to play war games. I like to play war games to inspire me to read. They kind of work together. It's not maybe not be it's not 50-50, but they work together on the same team. And if I'm playing generic stuff, it's not inspiring me to do any reading at all because it's just friggin' generic. And you could say, well, squad leader is generic. Well, it is and it isn't, because there's all kinds of different minutiae and different troop types and details and stuff like that. But yeah. Not a fan of those generic games. But that's the early Avalon Hill stuff and time period, and that's before my time, really. 'Cause I didn't really start wargaming until the late 80s. So a lot of those things were already what you'd call old games to begin with. I need to find a World War II naval game to scratch that itch. Good luck with that. Feel the meds kicking in, want to very much pass out. Go pass out, man. Look for more updates on the Shornhurst. Yeah. Drill away. When you paint a bunch of Roman troops over and over again, and you got to do stuff like 32 sandals or 48 sandals, it really puts into perspective doing like road wheels on a model. It's just, all of a sudden, road wheels on a model just aren't that big of a problem anymore. It doesn't take that long. World War II naval game, that would be hell for me. I had some fun with a game called, what was it called? By Avalanche Press. It's really very quick play, but it was actually all right. I never got a chance to really play the campaign stuff, which is really what I got it for. I had gotten those games so I could play them as a campaign and do the tactical battles with Sea Creek. Sea Creek 4 at the time. Sea Creek 5 wasn't out yet. No more drilling for the guns. I have to build all the armaments. I'll tell you that now I feel very confident in tackling the number of guns that will be on the Bismarck. Yeah, it's just a few more on the Bismarck. Not that many more. May not even be more if you're building a Scharnhorst that's specifically for the 1943 version. It's got a lot more 20 millimeter cannons and stuff like that than the Bismarck would have in 1941, I would imagine. I think the Scharnhorst is so much better looking than the Bismarck, though. It's sleeker. What's the thing about the Scharnhorst people don't know about compared to the Bismarck? I think the Scharnhorst got more belt armor. It's got more armor than the Bismarck in a couple places. The deck is lighter. It's got a pretty light deck. It's got like a 3-inch deck or something like that. But I think it's got more belt armor than the Bismarck, if I remember correctly. You know, it's a battleship except for the armament. You know, people, whoa, it was only 11-inch guns. All right, you stand there and get hit. It's the whole 22 argument. Oh, you can't hurt anybody with a 22 pistol. All right, well, you stand there. Let me take some shots at you. Now, the Scharnhorst, before she got the Atlantic bow, doesn't look good. Can't have that straight bow. Somehow it looks all right on Graf Spee, but that's pretty much the only one that gets a pass. Everybody else needs one of those Atlantic bows. I really like the way what they did with Admiral Scheer after the conversion, and she looks pretty wicked. Okay, man. Be well. Second World War at Sea. I think that's the series by Avalanche Press. They made 4 or 5 games of them. I had the Mediterranean one. Talk about a shitload of scenarios and campaigns. Bomb Alley is what it was called. Just didn't have anybody to play it with. Didn't want to sit down and read the rules. I don't think the rules were difficult. They were just, multi-complex or... It's difficult when you don't have somebody regular to play with. And it's also difficult when so many people come over every week you can't plan anything. Like, well, I don't want to learn the rules and realize I can't play this week, so fuck it. I'm not going to read the rules. Of course, it's probably been 4 months since I've gone over on Mondays to play. And I don't feel the itch to do so. It might be sad, but I just don't. I'd rather go over there and hang out than play a game. I'm not really that interested. You know, for some models that do a pretty poor job of putting marks, putting little, lines like, okay, this piece goes on that line to line it up. These things fit together really well. Maybe I got more patience skills than most people, but this is a hell of a lot less of a pain in the ass than a day at work. But these things do fit together really well. As long as this has helped a lot, building these rodents, so we don't bend the piece before it cuts, and in the bending process it snaps and breaks in half. And then just being patient. One of my pet peeves, and you didn't do it, Nordic, was when people spell Bismarck without the C. Like, even the capital North Dakota has a C in it. Because they're notorious for changing the names of things when they come over here. I can't imagine what it'd be like to be one of those people that came to America and had to change their last name. That just seems messed up. Or an actor that can't use his real name. I mean, unless you're born with, the name Jose Shithead. Like, well, I don't want to go by that. Well, no crap, you don't want to go by that. But just to change your name, just to fit in's weird. Really, really weird. I don't understand it. This thing's almost done. And we'll move over to the other side. With the piece missing, not that noticeable. I don't think it was included, or it's kind of a big piece to misplace, but who knows? It's not going to keep me from building this thing. It's still going to get shelled by Sherman. Not getting away from that, pal. You're still getting shelled by a Sherman. Pop, snapple, crack. Crack, snapple, crack. Heck, I don't remember it anymore. Crack, snapple, pop. Crap, snap. Yeah, I think that's what it is. See what happens when you don't watch breakfast cereal commercials anymore? Snap, snap, crackle, pop. There we go. Okay, next thing is we put those little fuel tank looking things back here in the back. Draw out the spots for the two headlights. Snap, crackle, pop. I always wonder when you see advertising on something that's incredibly cheap, like a really cheap item. Like, how the hell do they pay for that? How the hell do they pay for advertising for something that costs less than $1? I mean, I know you got to sell volume, but man, what kind of volume? It seems pretty extreme. There's probably a lot of gaps in 1/700 scale ships that aren't made. There's probably a ton of ships that aren't made. I remember back in the day, all the Japanese companies made them. So you could like get, who was it? Fujimi, maybe even Hasegawa, Aoshima. I want to say it was another one. The company that made like all the dockyard shit. Sky something? Sky something. I don't remember. I haven't seen that stuff since the early 1990s. I'd make all the Japanese ships. And that was pretty much it. That's the one thing. You have all these Japanese model companies. And they do make Japanese ships. When it comes to tanks, they make all German shit. Kai, something like that. Okay. It's just not very noticeable. And it's right here over by where my thumb is. It's not it does not have that one side, but it has it on the other side. So I guess I lucked out. All right, let's do the two fuel things. I bet all those model kits back then were not very good by today's date. I remember that one model company that stuff used to have a really high regard was Fujimi. And I have some Fujimi models and they look like ass. They're really not very good. Maybe it's just the ones I have, but I was not impressed by them one bit. Inaccurate stuff, didn't fit together well. You know, maybe the molds are as old as I am. Okay. Got this toolbox type thing that goes on the side. Here it is. Not worried about the tools at this point. I do need to get the headlights, drill those where they go. Yeah, it's like, okay, it doesn't have any headlights. You have to install them. Okay, no problem. That's pretty much standard. Oh yeah, by the way, there's no holes for them or markings or where they go. Yeah, not exactly beginner friendly. Freaking sleepier now when I start drinking the coffee. Go figure. I'm about ready to fire up the airbrush, so I'm a little tired of just kind of keeping everything. I wouldn't say in limbo, but I've got this in. I've got what I've been doing in a really low gear. And it's fine. It's not frustrating. I love the fact that I have zero timetable of when to do this, but at some point I got to sit down and look at the rules. And I don't know. I got half a mind to just do a live feed with me looking over the rules. And yes, it sucks, but maybe somebody will want to watch it. But it really helps me to keep me on track. Because just not trying to get through the rules with nobody, with no audience, is just really difficult for me. I'd rather do just about anything else. So maybe Jeffrey will watch it. He's really good about watching my old feeds. I used to listen to stuff on Audible or books on tape, as I call them, even though they're on tape. And I'd rather listen to somebody on YouTube. It's boring. Just, when you listen to a podcast or something, you never know what's going to happen. I'm not saying it's got to be, action packed, but there's a sense of, you know, I better not miss a moment because something really exciting could happen, kind of thing. So I would rather listen to somebody, I don't know, some show that even if they're talking about cars or something like that, just something different. But I do the same thing. I listen to things even if I don't catch them when they're live. You never know what you're going to get. I got quite a few things I'm subscribed to, and I don't catch up to them when they're happening. All right, let's see if I can use this tip. Just to hold that in place. Because these things being really small, I don't think it's difficult to paint things this small. I think it's difficult. Your hands are just too damn big and to manipulate where they go. And it's not because I'm shaking, it's just the hands are too big. Yeah, it actually worked really well. I still need to look for a pair of tweezers that got rubber on the end of them. I would have just used that instead. Okay, what else goes on the front? Might as well put the bumper on. I don't think it's in the way of anything at this point. Good looking vehicle. Most vehicles are good looking though. It's rare to find a vehicle that's just really, really ugly. Mr. Marcus, welcome. Welcome back. Here is Le Bumper. Most vehicles are pretty attractive. Except Japanese tanks are just ugly as shit. Hagos are cute. Chihas are just ugly as shit, in my opinion. It's funny. It seemed like of all the branches of the Japanese armed forces in World War II, the Navy had the best stuff. The Navy had the best stuff. They had the best planes. Said the best ships. Yes, the Navy had the best ships, and the Japanese armed forces, the Navy had the best ships. Really, you don't think the Air Force had the best ships? No. There was no Air Force in the Japanese Army, so. Hagos are cute, though. Very, very cute. Cute doesn't help you in real life, but it does if you for the inspiration to build a model. I've got one. I got one that's not very good. It's not a very good model. It's a BP cast resin thing, and it's rather rough. I know, I was just watching a segment of the Type 2 Kami amphibious tank. That one was cool. Oh, there's other ones that are pretty cute. That one might be one of them. Type 2 Kami. Okay, let's see what she looks like. There's one amphibious tank that's actually really cute. I don't know which one it is. Let's see if it's this one. This is not bad. It's not the one I'm thinking of, but it's not bad. I think it's arm 37. Yeah. A shitty 37 millimeter gun. Kami tanks without flotation sections fitted after capture by Australian soldiers. They don't look half bad. Yeah, kind of cute. Reminds me kind of like a T-40, a Russian T-40. It's pretty cute. Yeah, I think, is it Chihas? Chihas are ugly as shit. The ones with the short 57, just an ugly tank. Still wouldn't keep me from building one. I mean, I don't think a Brumbar is very attractive. I just don't think it is. It's not, super ugly, but I don't think it's an attractive vehicle. Personal opinion. French tanks. I don't think French tanks are good looking at all. They're very cool though, and I love the playing card markings that they have, but I don't think they're attractive vehicles. I don't think early Mark IIIs and Mark IVs without the turret storage device are attractive. I think Panzer IIs look great all the time. Panzer Is look Panzer ones look awful all the time, but that's just that's just what they are. I like Czech 38s. Even the 35s aren't too horrible looking. And most Russian tanks, I think, are attractive in their own way. Even little guys like this, even like the T-26s, especially with the more modern turret. I think this is a good looking tank. It's it's small and it's regardless of effectiveness. This is what we're going to roll into next. By the way, we're going to finish up the T-26s, which we got 4 of them to do. I think most Soviet equipment's pretty good looking. Certainly BT-7s. BT-7s are great looking tanks. Do like the camouflage pattern, though, with the yellow wavy streaks. Yeah, I do too. I think it might be a little bit difficult to pull off. I could probably do it. It's just because it's those hard lines, Italian tanks, I don't think Italian tanks are that unattractive. I mean, they're, not up to date or anything, but, the vehicle attractiveness is only important, if it inspires you to say, build something. But then again, you might want to build a vehicle because of the fact that it is ugly. I could see the point in something like that. Like, I want to build an I-16. Why? You like them? No, they look like shit. They look like a communist GB. But they have fixed landing gear, right? Ratas have fixed landing gears? I don't remember. Maybe they don't. Nah, they don't. They don't. I'm thinking the I-15s, but the I-15 is a biplane. Yeah, sometimes you could be building. I want to build all the ugly vehicles. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm never going to build one of those duck trucks. That is the ugliest vehicle ever. I can't think of anything that's uglier than that. There might be something out there uglier. I just absolutely hate the way those things look like. Ugly. Ain't got no alibi. It's ugly. I should look that up. Ugliest World War II vehicles. I think those Steyr trucks, the Plastic Soldier Company makes some. The Steyr trucks with a big old long nose, I think those are really unattractive. Really unattractive. Those little Japanese staff cars, the Kurogane or whatever, those things are cute as shit. I don't know if they're a piece of crap. They still look good. Just doesn't look like something that belongs on a battlefield. I like it. You have a set of those. I like the set, but kind of agree. I like that sharper lines of most other German vehicles. Yeah. Yeah, they just look out of place. They look like, all right, well, we got to do some trucks. Well, I guess we'll have to use those because that's all we have left. They're just... Like, let's talk about civilian vehicles, okay? My personal opinion, most cars from the 1950s, most American vehicles from the 1950s are, in my opinion, extremely ugly. They just are. They're a style I don't care for. 57 Chevy, I think is an extremely ugly vehicle. Aesthetically, I didn't say whether it wasn't a piece of crap or anything. I'm pretty sure that the best vehicles in the world from that time period were probably the ones made in the United States. But the styling on them was just not my thing. The vehicles that were during the Eisenhower era just not very attractive at all, in my opinion. 60s, there's some ugly vehicles in the 60s, but they start getting a little bit better. But that whole, flying wings and shit like that, it doesn't look right. But planes were ugly then too. Those jet planes from the Korean War, there's some ugly freaking planes. F-86s and MiG-15s, they're ugly planes. In my opinion. You might like them, that's fine. Doesn't mean I wouldn't build one. Have no reason. I think it'd be kind of cool to do. Somebody was telling me it'd be a period that doesn't get played very often, and it would actually be pretty interesting, is the Suez Crisis. And yeah, because it's a mixture of different things. I gotta look that up. I I wound myself up. I gotta wait for that to dry a little bit. So we're gonna do a search here. Good old Google Foo. Ugliest World War II vehicles. Yeah, it's all in the eye of the beholder. Like, for instance, I know I'm about to piss a lot of people off here. Well, you know what? If you get pissed off by my opinions, then you're the one with a problem, because it's all in the eye of the beholder. But I don't care for what classic Mustangs look like. I just don't. I don't like how they look. There's versions of the Mustang that look pretty good, like those Boss ones from the late '60s. Those look badass. But the early Mustangs, not my cup of tea. Reddit. There's a Reddit stream called Tank Porn. What's the ugliest tank or AFV only a mother could love? A mother-loving tank. That sounds like a line from a movie I don't care for. Oh, this is ugly as shit. Matilda 1's pretty ugly. A Matilda 1 is pretty freaking ugly. Somebody put a KV2? I don't know if KV2's ugly. It's just a big old slab. That Canadian Ram tank's not very attractive. Just as a mixture of weird things. Okay, I need an actual website, not a bunch of pictures. Battlefront community. Okay, let's go to Fine Skill Modeler, right? Modeler should be pro levels on seeing all this stuff. I don't want to go to a gamer specific thing. Gamers could be a 7-year-old responding to stuff. Ugliest tank of World War II. Soviet T-35. I disagree. Char-B. Better looking than a mouse. Yeah, a mouse is pretty ugliest. Oh, this guy doesn't like a Churchill. Churchill's not ugly. Toss up between the Fiat L640 and the 1340. I don't know. The Italian L6, I think, is a good looking tank. I mean, it's a piece of crap little light tank, but M3 Lee's pretty ugly tank. Vickers light tank. I don't know. I think those could be pretty cute. Wouldn't want to be in one though. It could jitter all your teeth out of your skull. Japanese 89, yeah, those are ugly as shit. What was the Japanese tank that's not the 89? Because 89, I'm pretty sure, is the Chiha. That was the predecessor of the Chiha. It's pretty ugly too. It's got a turret farther forward. Enkinaru, welcome, Enkinaru. Enkinaru, is a T-35 Soviet tank ugly? I don't think so. I don't think it's ugly at all. It's just kind of, imposing. The same way I don't think a KV-2 is ugly. It's just a big old slab that can knock you out. Okay. I think this thing is... Yeah, but a Lee is pretty ugly. The turret at the top is just ugly. I don't like the suspension on the Lee too. It's not the cutest, for sure. The suspension on a Sherman's not very, that Sherman type of suspension's not very attractive. But, it is what it is. It was practical. Doesn't really matter what it looks like unless you're, making a model of it. Reliability and how many they can spit out is reliability, survivability, and how many you can spit out is more important to the crews. Okay, I think the rest of this stuff is all attributable to whatever variances I want to make the top of the equipment and also the grenade nets. Do I have enough energy in me to do the... Oh no, we got to do this tire on the back. How silly of me. How silly of me. We got to do that. Inkinaro, are you particularly disposed to Russian things because of where you live? Or you kind of look at it more open? I've only encountered a couple times where... And it was a long time ago. It wasn't now. It was, I think, when I was younger. I would play war games with folks that if there weren't Americans there, they couldn't get into the war game. And I'm like, I don't want to play Americans. I'm already American. I'd like to role play a little bit and do something different. So I'm definitely not a America first when it comes to playing war games. I'd rather play somebody else. It's a little bit more exciting, has a little bit more national characteristics. But yeah, especially when I was doing there was a couple guys I used to play with when I first started playing war games, and we were doing World War II ships, and they always wanted to do the Pacific because the U.S. was in there. And I'm like, it's not well balanced. Like, it's an ass beating for the Japanese. Maybe not initially in the war, but once things get cranking, it's just like, And I'm not saying it was a cakewalk for the servicemen that served in it. I'm just saying from a war gamer standpoint, one side's got a hell of a lot easier than the other one. I wouldn't call most World War II tanks ugly. They're just normal for me. When I think about ugly tanks, I think about World War I creations. Yeah. I can't think of a World War I tank that's attractive. Except maybe the Renault 17 is probably the best looking one. That A7 is ugly as shit. All of the male, female British tanks are ugly as crap. They all look terrible. Like really, really bad. So bad I don't think I'd ever build one. Some of the armored car, World War One armored cars. What the hell do they look like? I don't know. Some of those World War One trucks look. They don't even have tires, right? They're just on like hard wheels, like steel wagon wheels. Like that's got to beat the crap out of you. I think more people would war game World War One if so much of it wasn't at least seems to be overwhelmingly trench warfare. I know there's a lot of things that weren't trench warfare, but those don't get gamed. But I like World War One ships a lot, especially the German ones. I think some of those things are wicked looking. Seidlitz. That's a beautiful ship. That's a beautiful badass ship. There's a guy who did. I can't think of what his name is. It might be that guy whose channel I can't pronounce. Not some Vickel or Fingal or Nuts Fingal or something like that. I forget what it is. He does intense videos on like particular ships, but he did like a history of like. I want to say it was Seidlitz at Jutland, and he had this big model of Seidlitz and actually pointed out he did it a play-by-play when things hit, and he marked on the model where the shells hit on the, and it was like intense, man. If you're a ship junkie, man, that was an excellent video. Yeah, Seidlitz is a beautiful ship. Wicked looking, beautiful ship. But the problem with World War One ships is by and large they don't have any camouflage. Other than rare instances. So, you've got almost they're all painted the same, unlike World War II where they've got a lot of personality. They look like actual armored cars. Rolls-Royce made pretty armored cars. The Poles even slapped playing on the Model Ts. One thing that could be a lot of fun gaming is the post-World War One stuff. Russian Civil War and the Polish stuff. I think Russian Civil War would actually be pretty interesting. Because you got cavalry, you got a bunch of different factions. This goes toward the bottom here. Yeah, a bunch of different factions. You could do stuff in the desert in World War One. I just don't find it very interesting. It's the Pacific of World War One. I don't find it very interesting. Turks and Australians. I don't know. Tough question, but I guess normally I pick non-Russian factions. Although I play games where anything vaguely Russian is either not present or completely opposite to my play style. You normally pick a non. It makes sense to me to not play who you are. It's a chance of role playing a little bit. You're stuck being whatever nationality you are. There's nothing wrong with that. We don't get to pick what it is. So it just seems like a way to, play something a little bit different. I personally like playing Russians a lot. I think they can be cool. Certainly in the Second World War, where Battle of the Bad Guys. I said this the other day. You know, not to be political. It's not meant to be political. The Germans did some awful things when they invaded Russia. And it'd be interesting had they not done those horrible things. You know, a lot of the horrible things that the Russians did was in retribution. And I totally get retribution. I mean, you know, you come and murder my family, there's no telling what I'm going to do to you. You know, you brought it upon yourself. And it'd be interesting, it would be curious to see if the Germans had been more benevolent, which wouldn't be hard to do, how different that war would have been. But then, you know, you could just say, well, that was just not ever going to happen. But, you know, but I like the Eastern Front because it's just so horrible. You know, it's if I was doing Russian Civil War, I know the Tsarist forces were assholes. There's no doubt about it. I mean, that's why you had the revolution to begin with. You know, I mean, there wasn't a revolution because, you know, people weren't being abused. But I can't root for communists. I just can't. If they're fighting Nazis, yeah, they're both, you know, I like them. I like them as much as the other, depending on which way the wind blows. But I definitely would. I definitely sided with the white forces. But you know what? I can play anybody. It's a game. You know, I don't take it personal. Whoever it is that I'm trying to play, I'm trying to get them to win. You know, so I know many people. They're like, "Oh, I can't play so and so because those people went after my family." Hit, you know, okay, I get that. You know, you get a pass on that one, but I'll play anybody. I don't care. That's just the ideology. That's just the ideology of the people at the top of the command. The people on the ground, most of them don't want to even be there. You know, they get sucked into a conflict that they didn't ask for. You know, and then something happens to their family or their guys, and they're like, you know, they get into revenge mode and bloodlust, and then, you know, things just get out of control. I get it, you know. Why is this not at a funky angle here? I really like, and I'm surprised they didn't do it more. I really like the world. I really like the Russian. Hold on, which one is it? Is it the Cross of Alexander? Yeah, it's basically the opposite of the Scottish flag. I think it looks good. I think it looks really good. The white flag with the blue cross. I wish they used that more. I was going to do Victorian stuff at one point, and I was thinking, you know, it'd be really interesting to do the Russians in Afghanistan. I'm a big fan of anybody that uses eagles and shit on their flag. I'm a fan of eagles. So, all right, dude, glue in place. You finish, you guys. We can start working on those T-26s. But some of my favorite vehicles to paint are World War II Russia vehicles because I noticed that most people don't paint them with any kind of personality, and you don't have to make them boring. You don't have to go freaking crazy either, but you know, you can make them interesting. Okay. Andrew Andrevsky flag, I suppose. It's more of a fleet flag. It's a good looking flag. It's a really good looking flag. And I think the jack, the jack even has, it looks similar to the Union Jack, but the colors are reversed. It's a good looking flag. And Andreevsky. Hopefully I said that correctly. Andrew's flag. It's a good looking flag. I like it. You're typing not very good today. Well, you know, you're typing in. I appreciate you using our characters. You know, Cyrillic looks really cool, but I hate it because I can't read it. Same thing with Greek, same thing with Hebrew, same thing with Arabic, same thing with the Chinese, Japanese stuff. Like, let's just all use the same alphabet so we can share our histories together. We learn about each other's histories. That's why it's kind of hard to uncover other foreign sources because, you know, I don't speak German, but I can make out some words, you know, but just totally different characters. And the Cyrillic characters look cool, but it's like I don't know what you're saying. I'm I'm writing things on my tank and I don't know what they say. Actually, I do enjoy painting the Soviet slogans freehand. I enjoy that probably a little too much. Although if I spoke Russian, I could probably do some non-historical examples that could be pretty funny, like put it up Hitler's arse and things like that. Write that on the side of put this up as you could have fun with that. But I don't like to mention either Stalin or Hitler in any of my on any of the tanks. It's just I don't want to go there. I don't. I'm fine doing slogans. I just don't want to do any pro-Stalin slogans. That's just my personal choice. I don't mind the Soviets fighting to beat the crap out of the Germans that murdered their people, but fighting for Stalin, nah, screw that guy. Short guys with mustaches are never good guys to fight for. I'll be right back. Let me go get some soda. Yeah, so I'm not painting any tanks to say for Stalin. No, it could be for Mother Russia. It could be, for the motherland. All that stuff's cool. Okay. Is this the point where we need to stop this guy because all the other choices are going to be determinant on each other? Like, this is the accoutrement on this, other than the grenade shields, which I got to do that. I got to do one of those on my own. Here it is with all these little attachments, and they all varied a little bit. So I don't want both of these to be the same. So I'm going to look at pictures and make this one different than this one. And same thing, which is why I did not put them on here, on the howitzer version, or on the anti-tank version. None of them have all these little fuel cans in the jack and the shovels and all that kind of stuff. is all three of these are going to be different. They don't need to be significantly different, but you know, this has got 2 fuel cans. Maybe you only have one down here. Maybe you put it on this side. I got to look at some photographic evidence and give them some personality. So I've kept all the parts in a plastic bag that go with these. And when I actually get ready to build these and the final stretches, we'll make these other 3 different. And you got to put wires in here for the antennas and stuff like that. But these guys are pretty much done. So I'm going to take my plastic bag. So I'd be finishing these, except that I've got everything hidden in my house because we've got the house basically on the market. And we have multiple showings almost every day. So it's like, okay, hide everything. I don't want to make a big mess here and have to spend time picking it up. I keep this work area kind of as a work area, and it really doesn't interfere with anything. Okay, so then the question is, well, might as well put the instructions in there. Where do we go next? And the T26s are a pain. These models are a pain. If you complain about Rodin kits, don't ever try a UMMT kit. Those Ukrainian kits are just, it's almost like a whistle. Put the air in here. Those are a pain in the ass. They're definitely doable, but they're a pain in the ass. I don't think I have that in me right now, so I think what I'm going to do is we're going to stick with the Russian theme. We're going to go to the other side of the aisle. And see what we got left to do for them. We have some of those. And this is what I was thinking that we had. Something a hell of a lot easier to do. And unfortunately, the only problem I have with this is I built some of them and I don't know which ones I built. Let's look at the 45 millimeters first. Actually, let me look at the 76. There's 4 of them that come in here, and if I build one, it was not the long 76. Okay, Carl, thanks for coming by, man. See you on the next one. No instructions. Okay, we built one. Yeah, it was a 76 mil. It was the crash boom version. So these come with 4. I'm making 3 crash booms and 1 field gun because the crash booms were a lot more common. So I'm going to make 2 more crash booms and then we'll do 1 field gun. Okay, so let's set this one aside. On what wheels did we use? Because it gave you like 2 options for wheels. I built one, I'm like, and put it out of the way. I'm like, okay, where is it? I think I built one. 1, 2, 3. These things are so robust compared to lots of other stuff. The gun shield's the same. This piece down here is the same. I got to do this anyways, and all my paints and stuff are away, or many of my paints are away. I don't really want to do something and then have to spend the next half hour putting things away again where they were. So this just gives me an opportunity to actually do something and not sit around and not do it. All right, let me look at the box art on here. Yeah, actually, I like the wheels that don't have the cover a little bit better. I like these wheels at the bottom better than the wheels at the top. But the drawing shows the wheels. Let's take a look at some photographic evidence. Okay, let's look at some photographic evidence. So we're going to open a window and we're going to look at Soviet 7.62 millimeter Zis. I can't remember which one is the Zis 3 and which one is the Zis 2. Okay, the Zis 3 is the crash boom. Okay, an example in Nizhny Novgorod has the ones with like the little plates on it. Let me go back and let's do images. Okay, here's the long barrel one, and it does not have, I just want to see if there's some consistency. If I consistently see that this anti-tank gun has the versions that have the covers on them, then I'm just going to make them all like that way. I haven't seen one that has the open ones. All right, I've seen enough that I'm pretty comfortable making them all that way. Okay, so we'll make all the 76, we'll make all the crash booms have these wheels, and the other ones will be saved for the longer barrel one. I could probably do some variations, but I don't want to get into that. Okay, extra little shells, that's cool. What else is missing? That's it? Not a million pieces? Okay. This is the same gun that's basically in the T-34, 76.2 millimeter. This is what I like. I like wheels, tires that are one piece. Maybe some people enjoy gluing two halves of a tire or wheel together. I'm not one of them. They're just wasting my time. This one's tricky. And I'm not going to mount these on a base because you might need to move it. Of course, we'll be drilling out the barrels. And that's just an annoyance to have a flat-ended cannon. I think this is probably even the right one I need to drill out with. This Plastic Soldier Company plastic is, I'm a big fan of it. It's fairly soft. I'm gonna have to go all the way in because I'm not cutting the edges out of the muzzle brake. Enlarge just a tiny little bit. Perfect. Yeah, so we're using the snips to take these little pieces off. We're using the snips and the X-Acto blade and the sandpaper. Each has a purpose. I want to take out the biggest pieces that I can with the snips so you don't have to put a lot of pressure with the X-Acto blade, and then just get it close and let the sandpaper do the rest. Stuff that I would have not done as a young adult. I'll be like, no, we want to finish it in one go. Well, there's better ways to do that. Make your own sanding stick. I almost bought some the other day, and I'm like, I don't need that. I got lots of sandpaper, and I can manipulate this on whatever size I want. The sanding stick is stuck being whatever it is. Like, I don't need to throw money at the problem. It's not even a problem. Don't throw money at something that's not even a problem. So this shit, I forget how this goes. And I had to kind of solve this problem. This is going to go like this. There's no doubt about that. Oh, I don't know which way it goes. It goes like this. That's how it is. This goes... Man, I had already solved this. I have an example that's built. Yeah, this stuff goes out towards the outside. Yep. This goes towards the outside because this provides a little bit of protection from small arms, I would imagine, for some of these guys' feet. But we need to drill this out. We need to make this, enlarge this hole a little bit. Because this fits in there. The Plastic Soldier Company's stuff is robust enough to be able to do things like that. And then this, okay, that glues on that point. And then the wheels. Okay, seem to fit on there okay. I wish every model was in gray, like this, or maybe even a lighter color. It's just like the perfect color to... I want to make sure these things aren't exactly the same. It's sitting like this. Let's do one. Up and down. Okay. Now, are these both the same, or is one different than the other? They look to be the same. So the question is, this has some details on it. Do the details go towards the inside, or do they go towards the outside? So let's take a look at a picture of a real one. Just don't want to build it wrong. It's just takes a matter of just looking at some pictures. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. This is not the field gun. This is the 57 millimeter gun. That's what threw me off. Is a 57 millimeter gun is long as shit. I was thinking that was the divisional gun, but it's not. It's a 57. Insane length. Insane length. So yeah, we're only doing one of those because it didn't come out until like 1943. let's look at an actual picture. It's all like all the stuff's to the inside. Okay. I'm probably the only person that would even care about that, but I got the tools to look it up on the internet. You might as well look it up on the internet. Let's just wiggle this guy back out. See how we're doing on fit and finish here. Once again, we got to enlarge that a little bit. I'm going to drop that in. Oh, it opens up really wide. That's how you get injured, with that thing falling on the top of your feet. Not that that's happened before, but I'm not going to wear PPE while modeling. That's just a little too much. An unsavory situation. How much farther down will it go? Is that pushing all the way in? No, probably not. I'll pick the position that I want and I'll drip glue in from the back side and weld it in place. Okay, that's where it goes. All right, let me look at that picture. There was a picture here of it deployed. Okay, so like a 45-degree angle. All right, it's simple. All right, so we're gonna let's just do one of them at a time. You come in here. Go ahead and install this on the gun, and we'll glue the gun in place. There's one crash boom. I'm pretty sure the other one isn't glued in place. The pieces aren't glued. Okay, let's make another crash boom, same wheels, and then we'll do a 57. It'll be interesting to see how the dynamics of this weapon is on the battlefield, because the game that I'm playing is an actual scale. So what does that mean? I said, well, even on a 4 by 8 foot table, that means the table is only 200 meters or something like that long. So it's point blank range. So just when you think, oh well, a 76 millimeter gun can't really do anything against a tiger. At these ranges, it can. So it'll just be interesting. It kind of balances things out a lot more than just being worried about getting shelled at extreme range. Got a couple of tigers, a couple of panthers for Kursk, Panther Ds. And these guys were famous for being dug in emplacements because, the Russians knew the Germans were coming for a long time. They dug in all these emplacements, and it had a bunch of these sitting in them, including T-34s that were dug in. And this weapon could probably damage the front of the Panther at these kind of ranges. So well suited for stuff that's in battle in twilight or low visibility, that kind of stuff. Where you stumble across a pack front where you're not expecting it and they take you under fire kind of thing. These models have really very little flash on them. Been on here 2 hours, man. It's flying today. I feel like I haven't gotten shit done in 2 hours, but I don't have a time frame when I gotta have these things done by, so don't really need to worry about that. These 76mm guns are a hell of a lot more common than the 57s. That's twice. Fumblefuck is in full mode. Okay, I think we're ready to assemble. Let's test fit, make sure we're still good. It's pretty tight in this one. I gotta be careful because sometimes if it's a tight fit and you soften this and you put this in there, you'll actually break it because it's so damn soft. So I'm gonna get close and I'm gonna put it on there. It obviously does not need very much glue if it's that tight. So that one's coming up this at an angle. So we'll do this one across. So we'll put these straight across like that. Okay. And we'll drip some of the stuff in here. All right. Those things go towards the inside. Cool. Man, what a tight fit. All right, if I can get away with it, needs to be a little bit tighter. Where's my tweezers? These will work too. I have these things towards the outside. Aha. Okay. Same thing, glue this here. Now we got 2 of them. All right, we'll do the 57 next. A long ass 57. And this one has the different style wheels. I do have a gun shield here, right? It's not part of that other sprue. The missing sprue that's probably in that box. Okay, we don't. Wonder where it went. Who knows? It's probably put away in a box somewhere. Okay, we're gonna punt on that. I can't do that quite yet. I don't have the legs and stuff for it. How about these crews? Head options. Let me take a quick gander, see if I can find it. I know where it isn't. The thing about Plastic Soldier Company stuff, it's really pretty robust. Oh shit, man, I got a lot of stuff to do. I didn't realize I still, now that I remember it, I got Soviet trucks galore. These cute little things to do. Yeah, these are things to finish up. Wow, I'll leave that one out. And we'll leave that one out too. Hide. This tank crew. Okay, it's not in there. Okay, here's the SU-76s. Why didn't I put the guns in there? Maybe because, no, we're gonna finish them now. That's what we're here for, to finish stuff. All right, these two cannons are, put them here on top of stuff. They can't really hurt anything. They don't weigh anything. Yeah, it's interesting. Same manufacturer, Plastic Soldier Company, same gun, same muzzle brake. The one on the SU-76, the muzzle brake came drilled out. On the actual cannon, it's not drilled out. Don't know why they decided to do that, but they did. Why didn't I glue this in? All right, maybe this does a really poor job of showing on the instructions where it fits. So I'm going to look at a SU-76 picture and see if we can't figure out front to back where that thing goes on here. SU-76. All right. A top view would be excellent. If not, we'll be able to decipher off of something else. Okay, it looks like there is a little plate that runs across the top, this one right here, and that's even with this. So that means it needs to sit like this. All right, I'm going to glue this in place. It only sits here. I got a bunch of Soviet stuff to paint. Okay. All right. Let's look at the anti-tank gun situation. Here's a 76 millimeter Soviet infantry gun from Zvezda. It's good to go. Here's the tank crewmen that come with it. Oh yeah, here's the other gun shield. Here's a gun shield. Yeah, here's the other gun shield. Okay. So we need one of that, and we need one of these. Actually, this is the same one. I'm gonna grab one that has the stuff on the inside. There it is. Okay. And here is the other set. Oh, I already had a 57. Okay, cool. Ooh, how's that gonna work? And there's only one gun shield left. Okay, cool. No, we didn't screw up. We came close to screwing up, but no, we didn't come back. Okay, these are the last two. Two gun shields. This thing's already drilled out. I don't know why I didn't want to glue the things in place. I guess I just wasn't committed to it yet. 1, 2. This one goes towards the inside, not the outside as I have it. Have all these pieces ready so they can just at a moment's notice spray them green and move on from there. Come on. Oh my gosh, I actually tried to drill a 57 millimeter end. Okay, here's the 57 millimeter anti-tank gun, which is long as hell. It's already pushed in. Yep. And then all 4 of these will be done. Got 3 crash booms and a 57 millimeter anti-tank gun. And we'll let them set for a little while before we put them away. All right, what else is in this box? Okay, here's a long 45. doing one of those is this particular, the 45 millimeter kit, you can either get a 76 millimeter anti-tank gun, I'm sorry, a 76 millimeter infantry gun, which is a Model 43 one, so it's a late war one. The one that was used early in the war and throughout the war, but particularly early in the war, is this short little bastard right here. That one's made by Zvezda. With a big old wheels. That was probably actually really, assuming they weren't very heavy, that's the way to go. Unless they were narrow and dug into the dirt, dug into the mud. This is the standard one. In 43, they came out with this one. So we have two of these that we can, let's take this apart. I'm pretty sure none of these are glued together. None of these pieces are glued together. There it is. Okay, so let's glue these two wheels on here. Okay, and both pieces are exactly the same, okay. It's probably not accurate, but that's handy. Oh shit. Let's look at the feet on this. .45 millimeter Russian ATG. All right, show me top view. Okay, here's a model from ScaleMates. That one should probably do the trick. Let's go visit them. Just need to see the back of it. Just give me some instructions. Can't tell from that one. Let's download the instructions. Wouldn't have been a big deal, but man, I'd like to do it right if I can. Really? It doesn't show you in the... What am I looking at? I don't think that's going to take me where I need to go. All right, let's try again. An ICM model. All right, it tapers towards the middle, so I'm going to say that it needs to look like this. It needs to look like that. Which means it needs to be like that. Okay. Okay, and the gun shield is the same for all of them. It just attaches nicely inside here. Probably the least useful of all the guns that I have for the Soviets is a Model 43 infantry gun. Because you're only going to be able to use it late war. And by late war, the Soviets just have an overwhelming amount of freaking vehicles everywhere. But there it is. The early war and the late war one. This one is installed correctly. I'm going to just glue it in place. Have it drip from the back side on all these. Wheels. Also the wheels. Even drilled out the gun. I don't know why I didn't finish a job on these things. Must have gotten to, something must have distracted me. This is the model, I don't remember what the model is, but this one came out in 1942. It's not the 45 millimeter gun that is on the Soviet tanks. The Soviet tanks had this shorter 46 caliber. I forget exactly what caliber this larger one is. Probably, I think it's a 55. But it looks long as shit. So 76 millimeter infantry gun that they started the war with. 76 millimeter infantry gun that came out in 1943. This is the 45 millimeter gun they started the war with, anti-tank gun that eventually got improved to this one. And here's the 57. And if I had a 100 millimeter, which is really late war, late 44, really late 44, if I remember correctly. That thing's a beast. That thing's monster, and that's a great gun. That can, you're pretty much screwed if you get hit by that. That could punch a panther right in the face. Okay, so let's make sure these things are pointed towards the center. Only way to prevent all the fumbling, which isn't that much, would be to be over my desk, but then I'm going to hurt my neck and be in pain for 3 days or a week. So we're not doing that. Let's glue that in place. This goes towards the center, which is like that. this one goes towards the center also. And this is the anti-tank gun they started the war with, that eventually got improved into this. This isn't a terrible gun. I mean, you can hurt some Panzer IIIs and IVs in 1941 for sure with it, especially at point blank ranges. Nothing to laugh about. German tanks were not very well armored in 1941. Okay, aim this towards the middle. So this one goes on this side. And then this one goes, did it wrong. Jeez. There we go. And then this one goes like so. I don't remember if I dripped it in here. A plethora of anti-tank guns. These are extra parts of the Su-76, which I didn't decide how they were going to go on there. You have a fair amount of Soviet cannon, not to mention the two Zvezdas, which consist of a 37 millimeter anti-aircraft gun, and the 85 millimeter one. So yeah, that's the guns that I have. Pretty much probably don't ever have to buy any more. That's plenty, considering they're not all going to get used at the same time. I honestly should build the 45s first. Okay, I'm going to take a potty break and I'll be right back. Okay, folks, well, it's getting into the point where the light is going to be shining in here. So, and we've been on here for almost 2.5 hours. So, we're going to call this one a wrap. We have a bunch of Soviet ordnance here on the table, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for stopping by.